What's up guys, Adrian Vasquez here from Balance Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, here with Elvis Chen. Today we're going to be going to a very specific situation when you have your opponent in the armbar and all you need to do now is work on extending that arm. But what happens a lot of times when we're in this position, this becomes a fight. Okay, so I have my opponent in the armbar position. Whichever arm I attack with depends on which side is in. Okay, so we're gonna change the camera angle a little bit, and then we're gonna look at this situation for you. All right, guys. So you're in the armbar. Okay, you have the person's arm trapped. They're in a defense. They have their arm underneath your hamstring here. Okay, I'm already elbow deep, and I have the arm that's closest to his head hooked in. Okay, so first things first. Whenever I have the arm that's closest to the head hooked in, I like to take my free hand and control the pant. Okay, this style of armbar here is a little bit different than the opposite hand being hooked. Okay, I feel like there's benefits to both and there's disadvantages to both. Okay, so some people prefer to hook with the arm that's closest to the hip, and some people prefer to hook with the arm that's closest to the head. I personally don't have a preference. I switch back and forth. So I feel like there's certain situations where hooking the leg is better, and I feel like there's certain situations where switching the hook with the leg that's closest to the hip is better. So first things first, okay, I usually like to prefer to start with this style of armbar first because it offers me more control. The benefits of hooking with the arm closest to the head is I can control the knee, like I said earlier, and this is going to prevent a lot of his escapes. Okay, so first things first, if I control this knee and he tries to power up and stack out of my armbar, it's much more difficult, okay, because he needs to be able to scissor his legs to be able to bring his knee back. So as long as I control this pant, it's going to be very difficult for him to sit up. Okay, if I let this go, he's going to be able to scissor his legs and come up. Okay, so I always like this control to prevent my opponent from coming up. It also allows, restricts my opponent from hitchhiking, which is turning away, right? Because now I'm controlling that pant, so he can no longer hitchhiker away. So this does offer me more control, but the problem here is now I have no more hands to hand fight and break the grip. So it has its advantages and disadvantages, okay? Now when I switch, okay, when I switch my grip, this gives me the added benefit of being able to hand fight, okay? But it gives me the disadvantage because I don't have as much control of my opponent. Okay, so I usually like to switch back and forth between these two. Okay, and another thing that I do here, a detail, I always like to cross my feet and lock the shoulder. So as I cross my feet, I'm bringing my heels to my butt, so I'm squeezing his shoulder, and I'm also pinching my knees. It does look like my knees are flared out, but as you cross and you pinch, it makes it very tight for him. Okay, so you can still do both. You can still cross your feet and you can still pinch. I don't like my feet flat like this because in this style of armbar, the ground is in the way. So I can no longer put pressure on his head. Okay, so we're gonna go start from this position here. Okay, typically when I get to an armbar position, I like to control the position first. Okay, the longer I feel like I'm in this position, the more of a chance I have to submit because my opponent's going to start getting tired. Okay, so from here, the first thing that I notice is my opponent is doing this classic defense where he's got his hand underneath my hamstring, which makes it very difficult to finish the armbar. If I start pulling, I can't put pressure with this leg because he's able to elevate it. Okay, so I need to address this grip first. And it's very simple. What I do here, I make my switch. I switch my grip. Okay, and every time I switch my grip, talking about this grip a little bit, I always go elbow deep. I always try to hug the thigh. I don't like to grab the collar because I feel like it restricts my movement a little bit. So I feel like as long as I can go elbow deep and cut my thigh, I'm in a good place. And I'll play with this on both sides. I'm not a huge fan of controlling the collar, so always cupping the thigh. Okay, so as I switch my grip here, as I put one in, I take the other one out. So there's no point in time where there's no grips, okay? So I switch, and now I need to address this. So very simple, what I do is I unlock my legs, I take my leg off his head very quickly, and you can either pull or push depending. You can even lift. You just need to get your leg back over his head without his hand there. Okay, you can grab the sleeve or you can control the wrist. So from here, I'm just gonna opt to grab Elvis's wrist and push it, and throw my leg back over, and lock the shoulder back up, okay? Now, even if you were to hug his arms, his wrist is still exposed. My goal here is to attack this arm to free up this arm, okay? There's really no point in sitting here and muscling like, oh, you see people do this all the time, like they're trying to use all this muscle to pull, but there's just not enough leverage, okay? And if your opponent is really good at defending, he might, use the opportunity to let you get tired and come up. So from here, I start to attack this wrist. I push and I open like an Americano. So now that puts a lot of pressure on your shoulder, freeing this hand. Okay, and now from here, I can start to attack the wrist. I personally think attacking the fingers is the best option in an armbar, okay? Because it's the longest point in this fulcrum, right, in this lever. So when I grab the 4 fingers here, it allows me to pull and tweak the wrist. Okay, so I pull, and now I can switch to 2-on-1, pinching my knees, pinky to the chest, and then lifting the hips to get the tap. Okay, so from here, we're gonna start from this position. Okay, I notice he has his hand under my hamstring. Okay, don't waste your energy here trying to fight. You're winning the fight, you're in control. You're literally 1 step away from finishing the fight. So don't get crazy here and start trying to, so I see some people take their hands out and start trying to pull, right? Just stay here, stay controlled, okay? And then we're gonna start addressing that grip. So I switch, take the leg off really quickly. You can pull, and now look, push. Now the hand is free. Switch to the wrist, 2 hands, pinch, pinching the knees, lifting the hip to get the tap. All right, guys, so just a real quick way to finish the armbar from the armbar position when the arm that's closest to the head is hooked. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, I like to have this leg hooked for control, but a lot of times what happens is I don't have this hand to fight. I may be going back and forth, okay, and controlling the plant and breaking the grips. But at the same time, that's a little risky because every time I let go, it gives my opponent the ability to power up, right, or switch his hips, so it makes it difficult to control the position. So one thing I really like to do from here, and again, addressing his grips, notice he's not grabbing his bicep with his hand underneath my hamstring. Okay, if this were the case here, it would be much harder to finish this style of armbar. Okay, so this works really well when my opponent is just connecting his hands palm to palm. Okay, so from here, I'm gonna be grabbing the pant. I'm gonna actually lean my weight towards the leg and then hook the leg. What I'm looking to do here is I'm looking to reach and grab and connect my hand to his wrist here. Or I can even reach, if I'm lucky and I grab the fingers. If you can grab the fingers, you're definitely gonna get this arm bar. Here is gonna be more of a fight, okay? So from here, again, what I like to do, I lean towards those legs, I fall to my shoulder and I circle my hand underneath, hooking the leg, okay? Now from here, I'm gonna reach. If I can grab the fingers, even better. And now to extend the arm, I'm gonna actually pull, okay? Pull the fingers, all 4, as I extend this leg to the ground, stretching him out. And that's gonna break the grip. And then the hand that was hooking the elbow, I'm gonna slide up to the wrist, pinch my knees, and get the arm bar from here, okay? So pinky to chest, lifting the hips. If the knee's giving you problems and maybe they're trying to kick it over your head, right? So from here, I'll just circle my hand out. I still have one hand on the wrist, which is plenty for me to control, okay? So you can even finish with the knee inside or hugging the knee. But if it is giving you problems, you can circle and pinch, okay? So from here, always locking the shoulder here, controlling the pant. I'm gonna fall, hook the knee, and then reach. Look, what I do here is I start to flare my elbow to help pull his grip towards me. So here, I flare my elbow, grab the wrist, kick. Okay, so I'm hooking his head and I'm kicking down with my hamstring, kicking away. Now once this grip lets go, the hand that was hooking his arm slides up to the wrist. And now from here you can go 2-on-1, pinching the knees to get the tap, or you can circle and pinch. Okay, you just gotta be very careful. If I circle, that he doesn't hitchhiker out. He can start spinning away. Okay, always make sure that you're pinching your knees when you armbar. That's gonna keep his bicep tight, his humerus bone tight, so he can't rotate. Okay, so it's gonna be harder for his wrist to rotate. All right, guys, those are a couple options from that armbar position when you're on top and your opponent's defending. Hope you guys have fun with it.